Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to make a DIY Dollar Tree fall pumpkin wreath. You're going to need this carvable pumpkin from the Dollar Tree, glue gun with glue sticks. This spray paint is optional, or white craft paint. This is from Apple Barrel from Walmart. This is a green foam wreath, and your variety of your little country ribbons, and an X-Acto knife or carving knife, and a scissor. First thing I'm going to do is going to cut off the tag, and we're going to cut this pumpkin along the seam. So I'm using my X-Acto knife, but you guys have seen me use the retractable blade from the Dollar Tree before. Jim just has it put away. It would be much easier to use that for this, but Jim had it put away and he was at work, so I had to wing it and use my X-Acto knife. But it's very simple. These are actually two halves of a pumpkin that are hot glued together, because once you get it apart, you can actually peel hot glue. The toughest part was the stem. The stem is one solid piece of styrofoam that has a toothpick inserted through it. And the toothpick will most likely land on one or the other side of the half of the pumpkin. Then you just go ahead and separate it. I did goof a little bit off the line and I just refixed it, but we're only going to use half of this pumpkin for this tutorial anyway. So you just pick your favorite half, like your favorite child. Just kidding. What I'm doing here is wherever I cut it off, I'm just going to glue it back because we're going to paint it anyway. Okay, so there's that. And that's what we have, these two halves of the pumpkin. We're going to take them outside and we're going to spray paint them. And I don't know if you guys have ever spray painted styrofoam, but there's something in the accelerant of the spray paint that dimples the styrofoam, and I'll show you here. I like the effect. It gives it this great, real, like pumpkin looking texture to me. It makes it look so less fake, in my opinion. But you guys want to just use craft paint just to coat it, you won't get that effect. But I'll show you. We're just going to paint it anyway to give it full coverage, okay? Because we'll make it nice and white. And I've also decided to paint the wreath because the ribbon that I'm using is a burlap ribbon with a real open weave. And it's a natural background burlap. I wanted to take away the green. I wanted to make it, you know, just so it would blend in the background a little bit. So I'm just taking this craft paint. And I'm using approximately 3 cents of paint, I'm pretty sure. Because a little really does go a long way on the styrofoam, okay? And I'm not even worried about painting the back because it's going to hang against the back of the door or the wall or whatever. So I'm just doing around the 3 sides that you can see. Yeah, I've used my pumpkin as a paint tray. Yeah, I've just dumped some paint on it and I'm using it because I'm going to end up painting it anyway. So why waste a plate, right? So as you see, I'm just getting full coverage on the sides and the back. And like I said, I'm hardly using any paint. I'm using this paintbrush from the Dollar Tree. I do know that some Dollar Trees do carry acrylic paints. Mine, I've yet to see at any of the stores that I've been in the last couple of months. But I'm going to keep my eyes open for them. But those of you who don't know, the Apple Barrel paint is 50 cents for the small bottle at Walmart, and $2.50 for this huge bottle. It is more than 5 times the amount in the little bottle. So I know that, you know, it's more economical to get the big one. And this is just plain white, but you can get, they have so many colors, some fantastic colors. And I know they also sell craft paints at Michael's and other stores, you know, too. So, but you guys know all I have around here is Walmart and the Dollar Tree. Okay, so here we are just painting. now I'm going to set these off to dry. I'm just going to make sure I brush with the grain of the pumpkin. That doesn't make sense, but with the bumps of the pumpkin. I'm going from the stem to the tail, from the stem to the tail. Now that everything's dry, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a pencil and we're going to map out the word fall. Now, I have seen Pinterest where I wanted to write the word fall, but you guys could write thanks or your monogram or welcome. The sky is the limit. And if you do have trouble with your handwriting or your lettering, you can always print a font off of the computer. But I'm going to show you a couple of tutorials coming up about how to letter different surfaces. Yay! So I know that you guys sort of been asking. But what I decided to start here was with the Sharpie. And I think my Sharpie's getting a little old. But I just gave it a rough outline of where I wanted. I tried to use this this sort of farmhouse font that's all over the place. Just that was the inspiration. We did a lot for the wedding. So then I took the big fat Sharpie from the Dollar Tree. And then I went ahead and let me go. I'm going to fill that in. I'm just going to give up on this Sharpie in a second. And I'm just going to use the big fat Sharpie. And you're going to see it's going to be so much better. Oh, man. It's just fading. It's fading fast. And honestly, when I first started doing it with the faded Sharpie, I was like, you know what? That doesn't look too bad because it does look like like a hand-painted sort of pumpkin. And that's really what the farmhouse look is really all about, is about that homemade look. Which is why you really don't need the perfection. But wow, look at that giant Sharpie. Look what it did here. So I did like 3 thicknesses on the thick areas, and then one thickness on the not so thin areas. And like I said, when I do the video to show you how to do some different lettering, I will show you my inspirations, where I always get these fonts from Pinterest and different people's, my inspiration pieces. I do come up with some ideas on my own, but not most everything, but a lot of what I do create is inspiration. I like something, it costs $1 million, and I want to make it for 2. That's pretty much how it goes. Hopefully I've inspired you to make stuff for $2 too. So we're just going to set that off to let that dry. And now we're going to wrap our wreath with ribbon. So there is tons of different inspiration on Pinterest. But some were with like this autumn red or with the plain jute. Plain burlap, excuse me. But I have this burlap with the chevron. And I kind of felt like I wanted to go with that neutral black and chevron feel, like that matches a lot of my decor in my house. So this is what I picked. I know that this chevron was from the beginning of the summer, this burlap. This is the one without the wire. And I know it's not the full 9 feet because I had used it for a project already. But I'm just going to make it just enough. There's going to be a little tiny gap. However, I am going to use the hanger to cover that gap anyway. And I was going to, anyway, and I put a bow at the top. So I figured it would be okay if I just leave that little tiny gap. All right, and we'll just give some hot glue here. We didn't glue the beginning because I wanted to make sure it fit. But now I'm just going back and I'm gluing the beginning at the end. All right, and you can see there is a little tiny white, like holiday, as my dad would call it. But we're going to cover that with the hanger. And now I'm just going to give it its little haircut wherever there's like stray hairs. Like I said, this chevron burlap had raw edges. It wasn't wired. That's the wired one. And then I have the wired coordinating one with the polka dots. So I thought I would make the pumpkin hanger out of the chevron so it would blend into the wreath. And then I'm going to make the wreath hanger out of the polka dots so it could coordinate. All right. But first we're just going to place our pumpkin in the center of the wreath, and we're going to measure out how much ribbon we need for the hanger. And you can always glue it and then shorten it, but I just eyeballed it. And I did want to make sure that I glued it to the bottom and the top of the pumpkin. just to give it that little bit, first of all, extra support. It is hollow, so it doesn't have a whole big piece to glue it to. But I also was hoping that it would keep it from possibly blowing around in the wind, because if you put this on your front door and you have a windy area, the pumpkin doesn't weigh very much and it might blow away. So I thought that the extra wired ribbon would give it some more support. Now I've decided, just like impromptu, to take a little piece of jute that I have laying around and to wrap the stem in jute, because I kind of thought it would just give it that little bit of extra, that extra. So I've glued a little hot glue in the back of the stem, and I've wrapped all the way towards the top. I'm sorry it's sort of off camera, but you guys have seen me wrap jute around stuff before. This isn't like, you know, the mastery skills. And then I glued a ring at the top, and then a ring at the top of the outside of the stem, and then right at the very top I took it and I twirled a little circle around, okay? And then I just glued it in the back to secure it, cut off the extra, and now we're just going to glue the ribbon to the top and the stem. All right, and just like make sure it's situated. Do I have it in the right spot? So I sort of want it to hang there, and I want to make the hanger with a bow on it. So I'm just going to glue a piece of the ribbon first to loop onto the ribbon, onto the wreath. And then I'm going to glue the chevron pumpkin holder to the back of that. So I've just covered where that little holiday was, and I glued it so it wouldn't swing around the wreath. And I glued the two ends together like that. And then I've glued the ribbon, the chevron ribbon that's holding the pumpkin, to the underside of the polka dotty ribbon. I just wanted to line it up. It's the same series of ribbons, so they're the same width, which was great. And now I'm making a bow. I'm making a 3-loop bow. I'm going to link my bow tutorial down below for you guys if you have not seen it yet. I think it's the easiest way to make bows ever. Like, there's a lot of easy ways, but I just think this is like the easiest way. And they always come out really great, with the wire ribbon especially, but even without wire ribbon, you'll see there's a pretty great tutorial. And I can't take any credit for it. All of the ladies who have come before me taught me in the past, and I'm just passing it on to you guys. Okay, so then I've just fluffing out the 3 sides. Fluffing out the 3 sides on this side. So basically you make 3 loops and you tie the tail of the ribbon around to make the knot, and it makes the tails, and that's it. That's how easy it is. So we're just going to add some hot glue to the back and glue the hanger to the back of the bow, the hanger of the wreath. And now I've decided to take a small piece of jute and make one of my little loopies. Just tie a little noose at the end, and then we're going to hot glue that to hang the wreath on your door or on your nail or whatever. I'm just going to line the top of the loop up with the top of the ribbon because I didn't want it to show. If you see here, I put it a little high and I'm just moving it down because I don't want it to show out of the top. I want it to be able to hide whatever hook you're hanging it on. And believe it or not, that's it. So we're just going to trim our tails. You can trim these to whatever desired length you have. I kind of like them to land mid-wreath, you know, and then I do my finger waves. You guys, like I said, if you watch the tutorial, if you've seen me make these before, you see they just go in and out of your fingers, and that's it. I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. It was easy. I would love to see it if you make it. Tag me on Instagram if you can. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share with friends and family and anybody you know be interested in making one of these. And don't forget to click subscribe and join the family. And as always, you take care. God bless. We'll see you next time. Bye.